Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. It is me, Desiree, and I wanted to share my thoughts and experience with the You're Golden palette from Colourpop. I'm also going to be swatching this whole palette as well as demoing this look I have on today. So first off, I am going to do the swatches and the demo will follow, and then I'll wrap it up. So I will leave a little time here in case you just want to see the tutorial. But I'm going to start off with the swatches. This palette, I picked this palette over the Stone Cold Fox palette, and I thought I was going to regret it, but I actually really like it. I think it's so pretty. So this is what it looks like. It's a ton of very pretty warm shades. There are a couple of blue, because you know, any warm palette nowadays has to have the obligatory blue in there. There's one blue in here, this one down here. It's this really dark blue shade. There is a blue kind of shimmer, and then there's also a blue pressed glitter. I'm not gonna swatch that one because I hate pressed glitters, and I do not like that they put that in here. So I'm not even gonna swatch it, I'm sorry, but I will swatch the rest of the palette. So far there have only been two shades that I don't like, with the exception of this one because I'm not even gonna use it. The shade here called Sun's Out, this blue shade, I think it's just kind of blah. It doesn't really transfer onto the lid that well. It doesn't have a nice like opaqueness that I want from a shimmer shade. I don't know, it's just kind of blah in there. And actually no, it's just that one and the pressed glitter. Those are the only two I really don't like. There are a couple of shades in here I find that are a little bit of an overlap, like these two right here are very similar on the lid. They don't really have a big difference. In the pan you can tell this one is a little more red, that one might be a little more on the cool tone side, but on the lid I feel they look pretty similar. Same thing with these two shades right here. They're both very similar, almost identical dark shades. I wish they had, instead of putting those two that were very similar and those two, put one or the other and then put two more blue shades. I think two lighter blue colors would have been really nice in this palette rather than just this one deep dark one here, because I don't know, I just don't feel like it goes well with a lot of the eyeshadow looks I've been doing with this. I feel like it just kind of looks muddy, especially when I try to use it maybe on the outer corner to deepen something up. I don't know, it's just not my favorite shade in here. I wish something was a little bit lighter. But other than that, that's all I have to say that's I would change about the palette. I think it's so beautiful. And at first, you know, when I look at a palette like this, I think, oh my god, I'm only going to get to do one type of eye look. But I've done a bunch of different eye looks with this palette, and I think it's great. I tend to just make little quads. Like I'll just pick a shade I want to use, like this one for example, and then I'll just pick those 4 shades around it and use only those. And that's how I really feel like I step out of my comfort zone with eyeshadow, is if I just kind of have to use only those 4 shades and I'm really enjoying it. Today I'm going to use these 4 right here in the eye look I have on today, which of course I will recreate in this video. But for now, let's jump into the swatches. So there's 15 mattes, 15 shimmers. I think that's a pretty good mix. And I really like that they mix the shimmers and the mattes all around the palette. I have a Lorac palette, also the Lorac Pro 4, and I don't like that all the mattes are on top of the palette and all the shimmers are on the bottom. I don't know why, I just don't like that, because I find I don't know what to do with the palette. I don't know, it's just weird to me. And I really like when they're all scrambled around like this. I think it's really cool. So let's swatch the first row. Of course, I'm not going to swatch that pressed glitter, but I am going to swatch everything else. I was kind of afraid to do swatches because I don't want the shades to get hard pan, but those are the first 4 there. But so far, I mean, I use all of these with my fingers anyway, and they don't get hard pan, so I'm not too worried about it. So that's the first row minus the pressed glitter. First row is very mild and very neutral. The next row, a very pretty row. This is one I get a lot of use out of. There's the first 4 there. And one more, and then that one. There's the next row right there. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of swatching stuff anymore. I don't know, because I feel like not everything is meant to be swatched. Like these definitely apply very well on the eyes, but swatches, I mean, they're not the most saturated, concentrated, ultra pigmented shades, but on the lid, they translate very well. So I think if the swatches aren't something that you are thinking look amazing, just remember, not everything swatch is amazing. Not everything's meant to look amazing in a swatch. They're meant to be picked up on a brush and used in that way. Although the shimmers do work well with the finger, which is how I am going to apply this shimmer today. Anyway, because when I see swatches now on brands' websites, they look so photoshopped. They look very fake and very just fake. And I don't know. It doesn't make me want to buy the palette. There was a highlighter palette I purchased once that had the worst swatches of all time on Sephora's website, but in real life the palette's one of my all-time favorites. Anyway, here's that next row. This one's super, super pretty. A lot of really great shimmers in here. Let me wipe off my fingertips real quick. I'm just wiping them on a reusable cotton pad with some micellar water. And then we are on the next row here. This one, very, very pretty. Obviously the first row did not swatch very well because there are a lot of really light shades in there. One of my favorite shades is this one here called Daydreamer. Oh my gosh, look what I did. It looks even here, but then when you turn your arm, like your whole arm, anyway. Here are the shades here on that row. This one here called Daydreamer is so pretty. Let me swatch that one a little better up here. It's this really, really, really beautiful shade. I love that one. But here are the swatches from that one there. Really, really pretty, pretty colors. All right, and then the last row, there are a couple of shades in here like this one that are mattes with glitter in them. And there aren't a lot like that. So far I've only seen 2. And I don't mind those as long as the glitter doesn't go everywhere. Sometimes those matte kind of shades with the glitter sparkle in them, the glitter is like a little too noticeable. Look at that last row, super, super pretty. But that one I don't really notice. It's matte with glitter, but I think it looks more of like a shimmer when you put it on your lid or however you want to use it. I think it's super pretty. The glitter doesn't fly everywhere, at least in my experience. Really, really nice. So those are all the swatches of the palette. Yeah, I have had so much fun with this palette. I think it's super pretty. Oh my gosh, I gotta clean that up. There aren't a lot of shades in here I don't like I said. Only those 2, the pressed glitter, which I don't like. And then this blue one, it's just a little underwhelming. Couple of shade overlaps I would have changed, but other than that, I think this palette is a home run. I absolutely would recommend this. If this is something you were already looking at and you really like these colors and you like Colourpop's formula, I don't think you're gonna be disappointed with this palette. I think it's great and I'm so glad I bought it. So yeah, let's jump into the tutorial where I recreate this eye look. My eyebrow's falling. All right, we're gonna get started with the tutorial part. I do have eye primer on already, the Morphe eyelid primer. I just had it here and now it's gone. Here it is. This one, I really, really like this one. Also, I have been enjoying using this palette with eyes first because it does give me fallout. I do like to make sure I wipe that away. Most of the time I do eyes last, but I've been really good about putting sunscreen on in the morning and it doesn't sink in that fast. So I have found doing eyes first gives the face more time for sunscreen to sink in, wipe away the fallout. You know, 2 birds with 1 stone. Anyway, I'm going to be using these 4 shades right here today. One thing I'd like to do with a big palette like this is kind of just make quads of 4 shades that are next to each other. For example, these 4 here might be an eyeshadow quad, these 4 here. And even if there's like all 4 shimmers, I still try to see what I can do with it just because it's kind of fun to use a palette that way, because otherwise I tend to reach for the same shades all the time unless I'm trying to like force myself to use something different. But today I'm going to use these 4 here. I used these the other day and I really, really liked them. So I'm going to use those 4 shades there. They are the shades Saunter, Slumber, Warmer Days. Those are the mattes, and the shimmer is going to be the Palisades. So this is what I'm going to be using those for there. This brush from Zoeva, the 228 Luxe Crease, I got this in an advent calendar and it's like the best brush ever. It's just so big and fluffy and it puts eyeshadow on exactly where I want it. Blends it really nicely. And I just think it's awesome. Made me want to try a lot more Zoeva brushes, although I haven't. I keep looking at them though. Look how quickly it's blending. I just really, really like this. I think it's a combination of the brush and the powder shadow formula. It's just really lovely. There are only a couple of shades in here, like you saw in the swatches, that I don't enjoy. But overall, for a giant palette like this, to only have 2 shades I don't love is crazy. I think it's great. I think it's a great value, great formula. If you love the color selection, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. And whenever I am, like you just saw me do, I get the brush and I kind of pat it on the lid first like this, because I find like when I just go in immediately like blending, a lot of the eyeshadow goes into one section and I have a hard time blending it out. So I kind of pat it around first to kind of get a base of shadow on there. And I'm gonna do a little of this darker shade on the outer corner. The one called Warmer Days. I'm just gonna kind of pat it like this. I will go back in after I do the shimmer on the lid and kind of add a little bit more darkness. Just because I feel like it, last time anyway, it needed it. So I'm just gonna add a little bit like this. Kind of stamp it in there and then blend it around. Doing eyeshadow with no other face makeup on, no eyebrows, it always looks so wrong. It looks so weird, but it all comes together in the end. But it took a minute for me to get used to doing it like this because it just didn't look right. Because I don't have any eyebrows on, no under eye concealer, just looked strange. But it all comes together in the end. So there's a little bit of darkness in the outer corner there. But like I said, I might add some more afterwards. Then I'm going to take that orangey shade called Slumber. And that one I'm going, actually, you know what? Do I want that one? Oh, here, look at the palette. So it does kick up a lot of dust in there. I kind of, you know what? That shade Slumber, I think I'm going to mix it with the one here called Remote. This one right here. Because I kind of want a little more brightness up here, and I think the shade Slumber is going to look very similar to the shade I just put on my lids. So the one I just put on is the one here called Saunter, this one here, but look how different it looks on my lids, because here it looks more like brown and on my lids it looks really orangey. And I think the shade Slumber has a lot of orange in it, and I think it's going to look too similar. So I think I'm going to dip into that Remote shade, that little coral one, and just see what happens. I'm going to put that one up here, just very, very lightly. Maybe, let me wipe this off a little bit. I want to get a little more brightness, just with the shade Slumber, and not mixed in with that other one. Maybe not brightness, just a little more lightness. Just very gently, gonna blend it out here. I might get a clean brush and kind of go over this one. Doesn't look that blended. I never really understood this step of blending with the clean brush until I started doing it, and it makes a big difference. Because there's nothing on the brush, you're just kind of diffusing the color without any color. I don't know if that makes sense. But if you do this step regularly, you know what I'm trying to say. But I never really understood why people did it, and now I really think it makes a big difference. All right, let's do the shimmer on the lid. And I'm gonna take that shade there called the Palisades, this one right here. I'm gonna put that one on the lid. Am I still focused? Okay. This is the one that I didn't think was going to give me fallout because it sticks to the lid pretty well and works very well on top of the shadows, of the powder shadows, but it did give me a little fallout. Just going to blend a tiny bit right there. All right, a little more blending. And I think I might do some more darkness. As you can see, like I feel like it just needs it. I think I might just use this brush. Maybe that small one was a little too small. I'm just gonna kind of dab the outer corner. And a little more darkness out here. I don't know, I just kind of want it a little darker. A little bit of depth. Okay, why won't this one look normal in the camera? It's looking crazy, but I swear in real life it looks the same as this one. But over here, I don't know why it's not looking right. I don't know. All right, that is it for that. I am gonna put the rest of my makeup on, remove the fallout, and I will join you back to wrap up this palette review. All right, see you in literally a second. All right, rest of the face is on. If you want to know the details of what's on my face, it's in the description box. I'm just going to do a little bit on the lower lash line, taking that shade Saunter again. And my little mirror here. The lower lash line, I see people get like a brush and do like swiping motions, like a brush this big. How they do it, I have no idea, because for me it'd be all over the place. I get the tiniest little brush with the tiniest little amount, and I sometimes think it looks like it's too much. But this one I really, really like. And then I'm going to get that shade, the one called Jet Set, right here. And I'm going to put that with the same brush, just clean it off a little bit. This one wasn't as bright of a pop as I was hoping it would be, but I think it still works for what I want it. Just as like a nice bright inner corner. And I really like it. I never used to like a bright white inner corner, and I do it probably every day now. I think it's awesome. Or not even bright white, just something bright. I don't know. I think it looks kind of cool. So that is it. Mascara is on. I feel like mascara really brings the look together and makes it look less, I don't know, crazy. But I really, really like this palette. I've been having a ton of fun using it, and I just really love it. I'm glad I bought it. I thought I was gonna regret getting this over the Stone Cold Fox palette, but I've been really, really happy with it. Yeah, so that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have tried this palette. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I would love to know. That is it. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I will see you later in another video. Goodbye.